Hi folks, it's Dane at Jonah Guitars, and just thought I'd try a little voiceover on this one segment here and just see. I'm starting the glue up here, and so I've just got a paint brush there, and also I'm using a separator knife or a palette knife depending on what you're familiar with. Pretty much it's a palette knife, and we guitar repair folk use them as separator knives. So you can see I'm just tucking it back into that tight area where I stopped the glue up previously, which is right where I've just put that spool clamp. And so I'm getting the edge of the guitar set basically to the back. And then I'll run around with some glue, get glued farther around. Be going so far on one side, and then I'll go over to the other side and basically do the same thing. Just get the side set first, and then start back with the glue. We'll get to a point here where you can see there I'm just now going in on the other side of the guitar, and I'll get the glue back tucked in as far as I can. I'll pull that palette knife out again and push glue in with that. And so I opted on this case. I was thinking to do the front half in quarters, basically like I did the back half. I did one quarter first and then the other quarter, but being that the neck had to be set in the process, I just decided to do it this way. So let's just watch and see what this guy's up to. This is sped up 8 times, and it's hard to imagine. But that glue does stay wet long enough to get all the appropriate areas glued up, and still give you some time to push things around. As long as the joint's open. Once you put that joint together, it tends to start tacking up pretty quick. And you can see I'm moving these shims around just to give myself better access. Can't be too crazy with the prying the sides apart, because it is a one-piece back, and it's not plywood, it's not a laminate, it is a solid piece of wood, so it could be cracked fairly easily. Now I'm dumping some glue right down in the neck joint there, and get in there with a flashlight to have a look and see how far back it went. But I'm sure I'll push the palette knife down in there and make sure it's tucked back over. You got that neck block that's about 1 inch to 1.25 inches deep right there, deeper than the kerf, which is only about 3/8 of an inch thick. So once I get that relatively glued, confident I should say that I've got enough glue in there, and I'm going to start clamping things around and getting things lined up. As always, it's difficult to hold on to something and get a clamp tightened up while you're pushing at it at the same time. It wants to run away. Okay, so this is just what it looks like right now, just kind of roughed out. Okay, and I'm going to thin it out a little wider than this. And so if I put it there, about an 1/8 inch wider, and I just traced a line, you know, with my finger against the edge. So I'll just rip that in the bandsaw and then sand it smooth, or plane it and sand it. And then you can see there's this little bit of a slant there. So basically, if we kind of bring it in just slightly, coming up like that, just slightly, nothing too dramatic on the foot. But then from say the foot, where the foot would be on either side, then here from about that same level where the foot is kind of taken off, then I would come in like so and fine tune this. I definitely will fine tune that. Oh, I didn't bring that piece over. It's the top, which was the adjustable piece before, which is not going to be adjustable, but I'll bring that across and leave it somewhat, and that will lighten this up a lot. Right now it's relatively heavy. Okay, so went ahead and did the shaping on that bridge, which you'll see up here in a sec, and it's I think it looks pretty good. It's got just a small land across the top that I'd be able to intonate one way or the other. Of course, the bridge will be twisted to make up most of the intonation. So, but there's enough room there that I can file intonation into it, get it spot on. I'm going to go ahead and pop the trapeze on here, and I'm going to pull the E strings on and get that intonation set, and then we can kind of go from there and get it all dialed in. Working on the assumption that we have, I didn't move the camera, so you still have the same line of sight you had before. I have my phone on tuner, and I just tuned this to a D. I'll take it up to E, but I'm taking my time. And then, so just a little flat now, so I need to go that way a little bit. I was sharp. Huh. It's pretty close. I'm just still reading a little flat. Whoops, I went way too far. That's real close. Harmonic's perfect. Not that I ever really go by that. Okay, we're sharp there, so try to, let's see, put a little piece of tape down here just so I can quick reference this thing. Alright, I'm going to hold that and shove this back a bit. It's pretty perfect. Okay. Sounds pretty good to me. Just talking about the sound of the guitar. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and mark this other side of this bridge, and then I'm going to probably notch the strings in while they're not quite up to pitch there, so that they're not as hard to move. And then let's see what the string height is here. Get under the light. Actually, my string height is at 4 now. And I don't, I guess the top pushed a bit. Yeah, so my string height is essentially perfect where it's at. 4. Of course, I'm at D. Weird. Let's see. I expected the top to go down a bit. I don't have tons of relief in the neck either. I've got just I'm guessing I probably have about 12. Let's read it and see, just to be sure. And I don't have any, I don't have any real tension on this neck yet with just these 2 strings. Capo first. So I have a free hand. Body joint. I'm pushing this up at 12 thousandths. So yeah, so by the time I get all the strings on here, it's probably going to be 12 or better. All right, I decided to, I took the string tension out. I decided to check what the, basically what the deflection ends up being on this top. So I have laid a straight edge across here, and I realize it's flat, and that's probably not the straightest of edges that way, but I eyeballed it and it looks really straight. I am going to just put an X here so that I know that was facing up, so that every time I do this, it will be in the same orientation. I am now going to see how much of a gap I have. I didn't pick it up very far at all, so this gauge is really messed up. Here's 2.5 thousandths. Let's see if that goes under there. Okay, so I'm snug at 2.5 thousandths. Let's try. I'll just use the 2,000 here. These two got really mangled when I was messing with my bandsaw because I was trying to figure out what the gap was, and I was shoving a pulley over them. This 2,000 slides up under there, and it's rubbing, but it's not tight. I mean, I'm not forcing it. Okay, so now that I know that, now I'm going to go ahead and put string tension on it, and then I'll be able to do the same mock-up and then check and see what the actual deflection of the top is. I think that's interesting to find out. And I also think that this isn't a bad place to test. I mean, right in front of the bridge. This is actually the highest point in the, in the arc. So yeah, we'll go with that. Okay, so here I'm just laying out the string spacing on the bridge. I just set the 2 E strings, the outside strings, where I liked them in relationship to the edge of the fretboard, and then come back in and find the appropriate spacing on this string spacing ruler. Great handy tool if you don't have one of those. They're had at several different places now. Normally I start notching strings in with like the 10,000 razor saw, but in this case I score either side of the string with an X-Acto knife, but then I just started using the files and filed in. When I first started doing guitar work, it's been over 20 years ago, I bought the 3 StewMac double-sided, I bought 3 of them, double-sided nut files, and then I just started buying the specific size files. Every time I did a StewMac order, I would go ahead and get a file at $13 a pop. I now have the full set, and oddly enough, I often revert to the 2-sided ones just because they seem to cut a little faster, and then I'll round the bottom out with the single size files that I got the full set of. right, so those are pretty close. Gosh. I don't have any drag on this, but I mean, I'm looking at it and it hasn't like it's opened up a bunch. So let me find out just where it's at. Go back to that. Go back to that 2.5. Oh, I think that was the 2.5, so it must have been the 3,000ths that I was trying to get under there before. Okay, so 3,000ths isn't dragging either. All right. Four felt like it might be rubbing a little bit, but I'm going to go to 5. No, 5's not bad either. I don't think. A little bit of friction there. So 6, 2.5 to 6. We're talking 3.5 thousandths. 6. Yeah, 6 is dragging. So 3.5. So it really didn't end up with too much top deflection, which I'm pretty happy about. This is the part of the video where I say, hey, thanks for watching. Guys, click the subscribe button, hit the bell, and I really appreciate you watching, folks. Have a great one.